Om Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, good morning and welcome to this class. Before I start out on the chapter, I want to ask you all a question. Are you all interested in sports? Those who are interested, please raise their hands. I can see that all the boys have raised their hands and some of the girls too. Now, the next question to you is, how many of you are interested in cricket? Now I can see many hands of the boys go up and a few hands of the girls too. Because cricket is one game that is a passion in our country. It is not a national sport, but all the same, the kind of emotions that are generated by this game is something which goes above the interest in any other sports in our country. I am sure many of you boys have many posters of your favorite cricket stars put up in your rooms. From the girls' side too, I know that you would not necessarily be playing cricket, but surely you would have a lot of interest in the game. You must be following the games on TV and have your favorite cricketing heroes too. So, today's lesson is about one particular cricketing hero. His name is Kapil Dev. This story, this particular chapter is an extract from his autobiography, My Beginnings. This says something about his childhood years, and I'm sure you can all derive a lot of inspiration because he was a very hard-working and persevering person from his young age onwards. Hard work is important and so is perseverance. Even though we might work and fail, we should learn to get up and move on with determination because that is what makes a success of our lives. So, you must be knowing some of the legends of Indian cricket. I don't think I have to introduce Virat Kohli. He is the current Indian cricket team captain. I'm sure all of you must be knowing very well about his game. But there are some players of yesteryears whom some of you might not have heard about. Sachin Tendulkar is another cricket player of whom you all might have heard and watched. He was called the Master Blaster. He is a living legend in cricket, though he does not play actively now. Another legend of cricket is Sunil Gavaskar, who was called Little Master. You may be knowing quite a lot about him also. Those who are interested in cricket would surely be knowing something about Sunil Gavaskar. Then we come to the hero of today's chapter, Kapil Dev. He was called the Hurricane of Haryana. That was the nickname given to him. He was a big hero during those years when he played cricket. Now, some facts about him which you would like to know. Kapil Dev excelled as a fast bowler and middle order batsman. He is considered as one of the greatest all-rounders in Indian cricket. Now, playing cricket is a very difficult game because it involves using a very heavy bat, and to master batting in itself is a very big task. But he was not only an excellent batsman, he was an excellent bowler too. Now that is one combination which is very difficult to find in the cricket game. So Kapil Dev was a very valuable asset to the cricket team then. And those were the days when Indian cricket was mainly played as test matches between any two countries. And he was the hero of those test matches. With his abilities, he was able to make India win in many a match. One of the most important matches in his career was the win in the World Cup. Kapil Dev became the captain of the Indian cricket team when he was 25 years of age. In 1983, he led the Indian team which defeated Australia and went on to win for India its first ever World Cup. This was the first ever World Cup that India won. Later there was a World Cup win for India in the year 2011. But he has the record of being the first captain of the team which won the World Cup. Kapil Dev has been awarded with the Padma Bhushan and has won many cricketing awards. He was also named as the Indian Cricketer of the Century. So you have a little information now about the hero of today's chapter. Before we begin reading, here are a glossary of difficult words. Please note them down. The meanings from the book of the difficult words in the chapter: conclusion, ending; claim, profess; curious, eager to know; broke, penniless; entertain, amuse; discover, find out; affection, liking; sympathy, pity; distribute, share; sap, fluid; rash, itchy red spots on the skin. Here we have some of the idiomatic phrases that are used in the lesson. Our beginnings never know our ends. What does this mean? This means our childhood circumstances do not necessarily determine the future course of our lives. Destiny plays an important role. Castles in the air means hopes that are unlikely to become real. Got even means avenged. So now, dear students, let us start reading the chapter. Please look at your text if you have a textbook. I'm sure you will all find this lesson very, very interesting. Looking back at my life, I have come to the conclusion that our beginnings never know our ends. For me, it all started in Chandigarh, a small town nestling in the foothills of the Himalayas. I was born on a cold winter morning. My mother, who is a simple woman, could not read the time, but she knew it was early in the morning. The date, 6th January 1959, was thankfully recorded because a cousin of mine was born on the same day, around the same time, and with the same name. I grew up among 6 other brothers and sisters, all older than me, except one sister who was a year younger. My mother always regales me with tales of my naughty behavior. My mother always entertains me. After he grew up, he says his mother entertained him with many tales of his naughty behavior in his childhood. She claims she never managed to control me. But I do admit that right from the very beginning, I found it hard to sit still. I was very curious, and it was my ambition to travel around the world and drive a Mercedes Benz. So dear students, here what Kapil Dev says is that when he was very young, he always used to daydream that he will travel around the world and own a Mercedes Benz. God has been kind to me and both my wishes have been fulfilled. When he grew up, both these wishes got fulfilled. But at that time, 25 years ago, these dreams seemed like castles in the air. It was as though it was only a dream and would not come true. But in his case, the dreams came true after many years. I spent my childhood, like all the other children around me, trying to bunk school and save up enough money to go to a new movie or have a plate of chicken chow mein with my friends. If we were very broke or bored, we would amuse ourselves by breaking the fruit of our neighbor's tree. So, like all young boys, he was very naughty. On certain days, he would go away from the school and go doing what he and his friends wanted to do, enjoying their time. Some boys are naughty and he was one of them. He would either go to the cinema or he would go to a restaurant and have his favorite dish. But there were times when he had no money in his pocket. So what would he do? At such times, he would go to his neighbor's garden and pluck the fruits from those trees. I remembered one particular lady who lived down the road from us who had a beautiful garden which she took great pride in. In it, she had papaya and pomegranate trees. I now sympathize with her, but in those days, most of our time was spent planning how to get into her garden and pick the fruit of the trees. In fact, one day we had climbed over the wall and were perched on the tree when the lady walked out with some guests. She was entertaining them for tea right under the papaya tree, which he had climbed. There were two of us on the tree and two others on the road on the other side of the wall. There were four friends who had gone together. Two of them were outside the wall, and Kapil Dev and another friend, they climbed the papaya tree to pluck the fruits. But unfortunately, the lady of the house came out and sat under that very same tree with her guests. The two fortunate ones who had been outside ran away. But my friend and I had to sit still for nearly 2 hours till the tea party ended. Where were they seated? They were perched on top of the papaya tree. They could not move. They could not make noise because they did not want to be caught by the lady. That was the day I discovered the rash that papaya sap can cause. And his misery became worse because the fluid from the papaya tree can create a lot of burning sensations in the body. So imagine 2 hours on the tree. That was how his childhood naughtiness brought him to. I had a hard time explaining it to my mother. But I got even the next day when our neighbor went to Delhi for a couple of days. That lady neighbor, she had to go to Delhi, and Kapil Dev was so upset at having to sit perched on that tree for 2 hours. He wanted to take revenge. And what did he do? She had 92 pomegranates on the tree in her garden. She counted them every day because she knew we were up to mischief. Every day this lady would count the number of pomegranates because she knew that these naughty boys will come and pluck it from her tree. As soon as her back was turned, we took down all 92, ate whatever we could, and distributed the rest. So what did he do when she was away? Kapil Dev and his gang of friends, they got onto the trees, plucked all the pomegranates, ate whatever they could, and distributed the rest among their friends. I remember the walloping I got from my mother when she was told about it on the neighbor's return. When the neighbor returned, she complained to Kapil Dev's mother about the pomegranate fruits that had been plucked from a garden. When his mother came to know about it, she gave him a lot of beatings. That is the word walloping. Now, that very lady, with great pride and affection, tells anyone who cares to listen how I had taken 92 pomegranates from her garden and left the seeds behind. So later on, when Kapil Dev grew up, she was very, she felt a lot of affection for him, and she would tell all the others how he had done so much mischief by plucking all those pomegranate from the tree, and how he threw all the seeds in her garden. She would tell everybody with a lot of pride and affection. So now, dear students, we will go to the key points of this section. Please read. Kapil Dev was born on 6th January 1959 in Chandigarh in the state of Haryana. His mother, being illiterate, was not able to remember the exact time and date of his birth. It happened that a cousin of Kapil was born on the same day and around the same time. Hence, his birth date was also recorded. Kapil Dev's own birth date was recorded because he had another cousin who was born on the same day around the same time. Incidentally, this cousin was also named Kapil. Right from his young days, Kapil was a naughty and curious boy and often got into trouble because of his mischievous ways. On some days, he bunked school along with friends to go to the cinema or buy his favorite dish. On other days, when he had no money, he would pluck and eat fruits from his neighbor's garden. There were many papaya and pomegranate trees there. One day, he and a friend climbed up a papaya tree to pluck the fruits. Unfortunately, the lady of the house came out with her guests and sat under the very same tree. Kapil didn't want to be caught stealing, so he and his friend spent 2 hours perched on the tree and could come down only after the lady and her guests left. He decided to avenge this embarrassment. When the neighbor was absent, he went to the garden and plucked all the pomegranates from the trees. He and his friends ate whatever they could and distributed the rest. Now, dear students, I will come back to one sentence which was there at the very beginning of the lesson, just to explain to you the meaning. Our beginnings never know our ends. You see, the lesson is named My Beginnings. So this particular sentence is very important. What does it mean? Let me explain. This means that our childhood circumstances do not necessarily determine the future course of our lives. Destiny plays an important role. Have you understood this? I'll give you another example. Our late Indian President, Shri Abdul Kalam, he had very humble beginnings. When he grew up, to help improve the family finances, he used to go about distributing newspapers in every house. But as he grew up, he had the aim to improve his life, and destiny took him in an altogether different direction. He came to be known as a satellite the missile man of India, and went on to become the president, a very eminent president of our country. So this means that whatever the childhood circumstances, destiny plays a role, and how our life goes further, we do not know. Here is an assignment for all of you. List out some of the naughty antics of Kapil during his boyhood days. Question 2. Why did Kapil decide to pluck all the pomegranates from his neighbor's garden? Question 3. The neighbor would have been angry with Kapil for plucking all the pomegranates in her absence. Did her attitude towards Kapil change when he grew up? If so, how? An important instruction for you all, dear students. In your textbook, you will find questions and exercises at the end of each section and at the end of the lesson. You should complete all the questions and exercises given. Please make a notebook for this purpose and ensure that your work is neatly done. All the questions, all the answers to the assignments you need to send in the WhatsApp group. The teachers will correct you. Along with the assignment, you can also ask any doubts that you have. So please note down all the doubts that you have in this chapter and make it a point to send it to your teacher. You will be given the clarification of every doubt that you have. Dear students, we have now come to the end of the session 1 of this chapter. Please do all the assignments and forward it to us. We will continue with the next session. Until we meet next, thank you.